Yeah, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Cloud ERP Livestream. And yeah, it's exciting to go through this journey with all these years already. And I think we have about 120 live streams now. So what are we up to for today? Welcome. And we are up for today. I have this topic here. If I can get stuck, why should I close the loop? Yeah, you know me, I'm sometimes a little bit ironic, and yeah, it's addressing a topic which many, I should say, many experiences from many managers complaining and many projects, why this could not be done better. Yeah, why this could not be done better in a Cloud ERP implementation. And yeah, it can be done better. It can be done better. Yeah. So we are progressing with our tool sets and our SAP tool set, which is delivered. And honestly, I must say, yeah, it is quite superior. So welcome. And yeah, you can always look forward, because as we now concentrate more on toolset in the future, which will include more demos. So yeah, to understand all of that, how it works together, how we can make Cloud ERP up and running, including processes and closing the loop. This will be a series of demos in our future streams, and we will call them a different name. So from now on, in the future, we will call them lab stream. Lab stream instead of live stream, because we are streaming from our lab. What does it mean? It means that we progressing in in validating certain cases. Use cases, you could call them, or value cases if you want. And these use cases we will demo, and this will be our lab stream. And also, you will have a say in this. You can decide what you want to see. So we have so much to show, so much to demo. It will take weeks, if not even months, to show all of this. But you can say what you are most interested in. And also today we will have a poll in which we will ask your opinion about the future priorities in the demos. So yeah, join us. And what have we done in the last streams? We have looked at the history of ERP implementation, so to say, and my personal interpretation of it, at least. And we have met these three guys. Well, I give them names. I call them now Classical James, Modern Joe, and Postmodern Jack. Yeah. So we've discussed about how classical James is struggling to configure systems, with ERP without understanding any of the processes, so to say. Okay, maybe it's a little bit provocative, but yeah. And then we have discussed about modern Joe, who is able to understand all of the processes, but detached from reality, detached from the IT system. And we have discussed about postmodern Jack, who is now in the need of steering the information flow, so to say, in a way in which he can react and be resilient, and make the company resilient towards the geopolitical and economical shocks that we increasingly get in a more and more unpredictable world. So that is a challenge, and especially if we look at this challenge from the standpoint of Jack, it seems like the method of classical James and modern Joe might be need to challenge, because how do we do that? Yeah. Now, what we have done in last live streams, also we have done a poll. The poll in what you think is the maturity level of the most companies or organizations, so to say, yeah, with respect to the Gartner maturity model in processes, actually. Yeah, and we said, okay, most are process aware. They know that they have some processes, yeah, and that there are some problems. And yeah, fewer acknowledge inefficiencies, so they acknowledge they could improve their processes, actually. And quite some have also intra-process control. What does it mean? So some of these processes, like approval of absence, or approval of time recordings, or maybe even billing and automatic billing, are partially automated. So that was intra-process control with 23 points. And then even in inter-process control, it becomes scarce, so to say. Yeah. What does it mean? It means different processes being coordinated with each other in a more or less automated or at least defined manner. Yeah. So that is going to be challenging, and it is challenging. It's not challenging because companies are not smart. It is challenging because, yeah, as I said, increasingly the outside world, the political landscape, or the economic conditions change and are in motion, so to say. Yeah? So what shall you do? How do you do a price calculation? If one day you get this tariff, another day you get another tariff. One day China says no rare earth delivered, next day yes. How do you do that? So that, and even also the technological progress. Yeah. So look at NVIDIA. Look at the each time NVIDIA brings a new chip, yeah, the old chips get worth nothing, so to say, yeah, and so on and so on. So, and we didn't even talk about value control and agile structure. So, yeah, because most companies have really struggling in this. So, this was our poll, and we said, yeah, hey, exactly for this, I must actually move it a little bit around here. Yeah, so because otherwise you cannot see this wonderful Signavio. We've said this plug and grow cockpit that we've developed and provide, built on SAP S/4HANA and SAP Signavio, exactly it addresses this gap. Yeah, so, and so far you have not much seen of it. You have seen only the promise, so to say, yeah. But this is why we call it lab stream, and where we will increasingly do demos, in which you will see in the future how that will work. So, and now let us have a look. Okay, let me screen share only. Join us, yeah, join us at menti.com. Today also we want to have together a poll, and for that poll join us at menti.com. Use the number 8589 5047. Yeah, then you can join us. There's also a also a mobile app that you can use, or with the QR code. So it's 8589 5047, and we are looking forward to doing this poll together with you, which we will do for today. Okay, so talking about closing the loop, yeah. If we close the loop, let me show me again here, yeah. So if we are closing the loop, we need to talk about both parts, or I should say even three parts. Yeah, so we need to talk about systems, we need to talk about processes, and we need to talk about people. Yeah, and how they work together. So that's now the challenge. And so as we have experience in the past, it makes no sense to configure systems without thinking about the processes. Also, as we've discussed in the past, it makes no sense to think about processes because if you only think about processes and you don't implement them into systems, they are like fairy dust. Yeah, they're gone with the wind, so to say. Nobody cares, actually, honestly. And so we need both of them to be dealt together so that people can at the same time use the system and the processes will support them. Yeah? And even if we reach a better maturity, then the people will also improve the processes, yeah, using the systems. So that is, so to say, the ideal world. Yeah, but oftentimes the reality is far more challenging. Yeah, actually. Yeah. So tell me one company who has processes and systems fully aligned and people know how to understand how to use them. So that will be a rare case. Maybe I don't know, maybe think of Amazon and Tesla, companies like that who are highly efficient. But most companies, even them, are struggling. Yeah? And that's why we also think about, how can we accelerate? Yeah? How can we accelerate the time improving the systems, and how can we accelerate the time or even also the quality, of improving or at least understanding the processes. Yeah. So, and now how do our beloved, so to say, protagonists of the different history phases, like classical James, how does he now deal with these challenges to making it a closed loop? Yeah, how does he make sure, or what is his blind spot, so to say? Yeah? So what is a blind spot? A blind spot is you don't know something, but you don't know that you don't know it. Yeah, so that's a blind spot, and others can see clearly that you don't know it. Yeah, so that is for classical James. So what is his, so to say, blind spot? His blind spot is, because he focuses on systems, he doesn't care so much about processes. So maybe that's a little bit unjust because also, of course, SAP Consulting write big blueprints about whatever. Yeah. But in the stricter sense of process models, obviously this is not the case. So there were big like blueprints written for each project, and every detail was described. So what do we have to do with systems? So we have to design system, build system, test system, deploy system, and run system. Yeah, how do we do that? Yeah, okay. So system design. Yeah, I mean, it's the question now. For example, which systems do we have and how do we interconnect them with interfaces and integration scenarios? Yeah, so that is one of the classical challenges in all of these projects. And I must say, with the rise of Cloud ERP, actually this challenge has become much simpler because it's just the cloud ERP. Yeah. Period. Yeah. Okay. You have extensions. I know. I understand that. Yeah. You have like you want to have additional applications interfacing with the cloud ERP, but you have to stay to a strict programming model. You cannot let your fantasy go here and there, because if we let our fantasy go here and there in designing systems, without the proper education and without the proper programming model, then we get something which the mess we have today, in which all of these systems are modified, and you cannot upgrade them, and therefore you are struggling to find a clean core and things like that. And that is it is worse than you think. Yeah, it's not about wasted. It's not about wasted thousands. It's about wasted millions, so to say. Yeah, and yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, and in Cloud ERP, that is partially resolved. So Joe is not really so much needed for designing systems, but more for something else actually. Yeah, well, what does he do? I don't know. Maybe he can half-time do gardening or something like this. Yeah, so and building systems, yeah, keeping to a strict programming model in Cloud ERP, that's a must. Yeah, that's a must. We are not hiring like Jugendforscht, as we say, youth researchers, but we are looking for people who are excellently educated in the Cloud ERP programming model, because that is not only much simpler than the typical programming model, but also much more efficient to implement. Yeah, but up to now, James has not done much thinking about processes. Yeah? So typically what happens in such a project is we have specialists for line of business. Yeah, line of business for sales, line of business for finance, line of business for purchasing, and so on. And these consultants are experts in these areas of line of business. Yeah. So, for example, take a look at this here. This book here. Yeah. It's about Rechnungswesen. Yeah, financials. Big book. Yeah. And it's an excellent book, by the way. But yeah. So that is only one LOB, line of business. Yeah. Financials, many configurations, many whatever, everything here, and so on and so on. Yeah. So we have specialists in each line of businesses, and these specialists are so deep into this topic, yeah, that it is difficult for them to think end-to-end process. Yeah. So they can, and then if you reach the test phase, the problem comes up, because then. Yeah, you have to explain to the people here how they could use the system, and the people think typically in end-to-end processes, which is good. Yeah, but then they stumble into each problem in each line of business. Like, yeah, I can post. Okay, for example, I can post an invoice, but it is in wrong accounts in financials. Just for example, or I even cannot post the invoice because I get an error message that financial is wrong configured. Yeah, so that are typical things that happen. Yeah, and then all the searching begins, the running. So why is this not right configured? Yeah, and so on and so on. And yeah, people are blaming each other. Consultants are blaming each other. I don't know. And the project manager has to resolve this trouble. Yeah? So that is late troubleshooting, so to say. And this costs a lot because at the same time, all the time, the people cannot do anything. Yeah. So they are in the project, they should do anything, but they cannot progress because they get error messages and so on and so on. It's a mess. Yeah. That's only because we didn't have a look at the processes here in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. And then after you have gone through all of this hell of testing, yeah. Then you can maybe deploy something. I hope you need not to develop something because that makes it even worse. Yeah. Have you ever tested in a system in which you developed something? Yeah. Because today it works like this, next day it works differently because the developer in the meanwhile has done something, and even if you are lucky, you're not getting a compiler error. So yeah. This needs to be coordinated. Of course, project managers know how to do this. There's this 3-system landscape and development system, a test system, a configuration system, a test system, a quality system, and a productive system, and things like this. So all of this configuration, all of this development, they are moving through the system landscape, and in the best case, they meet in the quality system, work together in the quality system, then go into the go live system, and then you can go live, and you can go run. Okay. After you've mastered this nightmare, maybe some people are happy, and especially, but all of are exhausted. Yeah. So that is if you have the focus on systems only. Poor James. So, next one. We have this sleek Joe, yeah, our modern guy, he knows about processes, yeah. So he models the processes, he understands, he talks with the business people, he asks them, what do we do, yeah. So it's about designing, enhancing, analyzing, executing, and enabling. But especially becomes already a challenge, because how do you enhance a process? How do you analyze a process? How do you execute a process? How do you enable people? Yeah. And actually, it's the other way around. Enable, execute, analyze, enhance, and design. Yeah. So training people how to use this process modeling is quite a challenge. So actually, we've trained a lot of people in that process modeling, and there's good books and material and practice. So what we find is people love to have quick model, in which they can fill an Excel with who does what, when. Yeah. So for example, and then transform it into a process model. Yeah. And yeah. So also we have to design a process model. Yeah? Designing a process model, how do we do that? What are the best methods of doing this? How do we display them? Yeah? How do we discuss them? And there's a lot of good books also. So maybe 2 of them here. Yeah. So do we have here? Let me. So I've mentioned this before, The Process from Gero Decker and Geschäftsprozesse erkennen und optimieren von Simone Glitsch. Yeah, so these are good books in which you can learn how to design processes. I like them both, and it's important because we get insight. Yeah, we get some insights into the processes. But yeah, the problem of Joe obviously is because he's not so much related to the systems. Yeah, his so to say, process models. If he comes to the project of SAP and they say, what are you doing here? Yeah, how do they fit together? Yeah, how do they fit together? And yeah, SAP offers also solutions like reusing best practice process models which come from SAP, describing the system. Yeah, but what often is the case is that this process model, 2000 process models are dumped into the process modeling Signavio database and people don't know how to use it. Yeah, so they don't find anything. They don't find anything that relates to themselves. Yeah, like there's a lot of processes, and how do I now find the right processes for me? Because honestly, also these processes are written in SAP Chinese. So yeah. So if you have to create a debit memo request, for example, nobody knows what it is actually. Yeah. And so these processes also often get ignored, and you create new processes, but the new processes now have the problem they don't relate actually to the system. Yeah. And that is also a problem, also a challenge. Yeah. So, and let me see. We can accelerate a time to scope. So it's good if we know the processes, because then we can more easily say, okay, what scope do we want to implement in which phase of the system rollout? Yeah, and that works pretty good actually. But here, set the right transformation goals based on business and solution reference architecture. So that is something that happened. Yeah. So for example, you can purchase like process libraries for ITIL, yeah, IT service management, and so on and so on. But are they really implemented in the systems? That's the question. The other one is accelerate. So maybe I switch here. Accelerate time to insight. Yeah, how do we do this? Drive end-to-end and continuous process optimization with ready-to-use metrics. That is something Joe is struggling with, because okay, let me make this here. Joe is struggling with generating insights from ready-to-use metrics, because where does he get his real-time process metrics? Yeah, he might want to simulate his process, but he might also see how the process executes and in the real system, and that's the whole area of process mining. And there are quite some process mining tools on the market also. Yeah, but yeah, so is still something for Jack maybe, yeah? So he looks at everything. He looks at the processes and he looks at the systems. So he thinks about, so how can we implement systems based on processes, and how can we use the systems to get information about the real-time execution of the processes, like process mining, for example, yeah? Understand how the processes run in the systems in reality, what are the results, what are the key figures, what are the value drivers, and so on, and then use them to gain insights into the processes and improve the processes, and then redesign the system if necessary, configuration, for example, or adaptation, or like implementation, additional applications or some extensions, and then improve the process again. So that is a closed loop, and as you can see, yeah, it is like a closed, and so to say, an infinity loop. Yeah. So just for example, yeah, if you configure an S/4HANA cloud system, yeah, first you can do some clearing of payment, yeah, cash management, for example, yeah. So you have open items like accounts receivable or accounts payable, and you have payments, outgoing payments, incoming payments, and you need to match the payments with the accounts receivable and accounts payable, yeah. So of course you can do that manually. So that would be the first level, so to say, the first run through here, yeah. First design, build, test, deploy, run, and then you can you can do the clearing for this accounts receivable, for example. Let's stay with this example, accounts receivable and the payments, yeah, manually, yeah. And then you see, okay, maybe that's not then you do process mining, yeah, and then you see, okay, maybe that's too slow, yeah. We are wasting too much time here, yeah. We have a low automation rate, yeah. Then maybe you can have some automatic support, something like, yeah, matching based on supplier or on customer or something like this, yeah. Then you have one new idea of improving the process. You can go through the next cycle, yeah. That's an idea. And then you think, okay, but this can still be improved. I can do better rules, better if in the payment text description, the number, and then you can match the number, yeah. And then you get a better automation rate, maybe, yeah. So that's the next circle, yeah. And then maybe in the end you think, okay, maybe I could use AI because sometimes the information is incomplete and maybe it cannot really match or something like this, yeah. And then you are installing some new AI and paying a lot of it, maybe, I don't know, yeah. And then you have another walk through the system, through the cycle, yeah. So then you can improve, and that's the thing, yeah. You want to have visibility, how much you can gain by investing in which process improvement, yeah. For example, and that you need to do. You don't need to do anything, but you can do, yeah. You can do in cycles, depending on how you progress actually. And that, for example, is a big weakness of process mining, because process mining is only like getting insights of a process, yeah. But then what? Yeah, it's like looking in the mirror, seeing you're not shaved, and going away, not shaving yourself, for example. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, what do you do about it? How do you get your insights you get from process mining back into a structured methodology and a structured tool set, so that you can increasingly improve your processes in conjunction with process modeling and the systems? Yeah, that's the question. So, and for that we have the demos in our lab. Yeah, so we will show that in the future to you, how this works, because we have closed the loop in our test and demo systems. Yeah? And also, of course, drawing from the vast experience of our customer projects, yeah? Because here we had, so to say, pre-major closing loops. Yeah? But this now is mature closing loops. Yeah? So we have, so to say, increase the quality of the closed loop, so to say. Okay, now it's your turn. Yeah. So what I want to know from you today is is this. So we have now different areas of focus, and it's interesting to see which area of focus you are most interested in, because we cannot show everything at the same time. So what do we start with? Yeah. Do we start with processes? Like what insights can we gain from processes? Yeah. I should say something about. Okay, join us first of all. Join us again if you not yet have joined at menti.com for the poll. It's 85895047. So, of course, in the lab, yeah, what we do is bring practice and theory together. Yeah, so you might you might know this joke already. Yeah. So what is theory? Theory is we know everything, but nothing works. Yeah. So to say, that would be processes. Yeah. And what is practice? Yeah. Practice is everything works, but nobody knows why. Yeah. That would be systems. Yeah. So somebody configured something, but nobody knows why it works. Yeah. And in our lab, we bring together theory and process, which is nothing works and nobody knows why. So, yeah. So that's not what it should be. Yeah. But seriously, of course, we can have some fun sometimes. Yeah. Seriously. So, of course, what we aim to is it works and we know why. Yeah. Of course, it's clear. Yeah. So, but what do we dive in first? How do we get fast time to insight into processes? Or how do we fast time to adapt systems to processes? Yeah? Or how do we navigate people through all of this? In my opinion, my personal opinion, presupposition for navigating people through all of this would be that something works, actually. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. And then also maybe getting more into, okay, how does this work together, all together, yeah? How is, so to say, the end-to-end view of this integrated tool chain, of this closed-loop integrated tool chain. So that's now your poll. So let us poll together. You can give 100 points, yeah, for each of these. No, you can give 100 points all in all. So you are now invited to say how much % interest you have to gain insights from processes, how much % interest you have in how to adapt systems to processes, how much % interest in how to navigate people through this transformation, yeah, and how much % overview over the closed loop as a whole. You have 100 points all in all, and you can share them as you like. Between the different options. And yeah, so if you have not joined with menti.com, you can, okay, we've seen already have some participants here. So first, votes are already coming in, and I think you figure out how to do that. And yeah, so let's see. How we can distribute this. So let's set a timer or something. I think, how do I do this timer thing? I don't know. So maybe I give you yeah, the problem is you have 30 seconds lag. Yeah, so I give you some more, let's say 30 seconds or something like this. Yeah, and then we can close up the poll. Yeah, yeah. So and what we will do in the future is, depending on how you decide, we will set, so to say, the priorities of the live streams. Yeah. So sometimes we will give you the choice within the live stream itself, how you would see what you would like to see within the live stream. So you can decide which demo. We can prepare multiple demos, or actually we have prepared multiple demos already. Yeah. So you can decide within a live stream what is of most interest to you. So you can do the steering of the lab actually. So it's up to you. We can react to what you prefer actually. Yeah. So that is something. So yeah, thank you. Closing the poll. So most of you are interested in how to gain insights from processes, and also high interest in how to adapt systems to processes. Then overview over the closed loop as a whole. That is something we will do in the third place. And then finally we will look at how to navigate people through this transformation. So yeah, thank you very much for joining and giving this feedback. Are there any questions? Okay, it's already over time. I don't want to bother you today. So if you have any questions, write me on LinkedIn, and I will make sure it will in the future get also addressed. And we will use use cases in our demos on these challenges, like how to protect the cache, how to protect our margin, and how to protect our USP if we are a company using this closed loop. And we are using use cases and value cases from that area. Protecting cache we will start because that's the most important thing. Next one will be protecting margin, and next one after that will be protecting USP. Okay, follow us on LinkedIn. Glad you joined, and yeah, thank you for joining. See you next time, and have a good day. Goodbye.